It's February 7th, JLD here, and welcome to MSTR Today and the Treasury Titans. Nothing in this video is financial advice. And how can you not want to invest in a company that has a founder that would post something like this on one of the top 10 biggest green candles for MSTR in, I think it's history, at least in the last definitely 5+ years. I have a chart I'll be showing you later about this, but I mean, come on. Michael Saylor posting this in the middle of an epic turnaround by the MSTR share price is absolutely beautiful. We're going to get into a little bit more details about the hedge fund that potentially blew up that caused this. You know, what might happen over the weekend, of course, with some lower volatility. But at the end of the day, um, after that earnings call and after the turnaround on Friday, and after everything that we've been through and that we know is coming, like, how can you just not be super bullish? I mean, it has been a rocky road for us for a long time, but I mean, at the end of the day, the victory is going to taste that much sweeter. And I just want to kind of share, the glory. We don't get, again, many of these days. I think this is one of the top, I know this is one of the top 10 days in a very long time for MSTR share price. Of course, when this comes on the heel of like a 17% drop, it's not nearly as enjoyable. But at the end of the day, excuse me, we will take these beautiful days, especially when IBITs. Let's kind of go here. If MSTR was up 26%, what was IBIT up in the same amount of time? Well, it was up almost 10%. So 2.5x return over IBIT was MSTR. We love that kind of leverage. We love that kind of volatility. We love that for a lot of reasons, because of course it increases the MNAV to a higher level. So let's just enjoy that. And here's that chart I was talking about, how MSTR was up 26.1% today, the fourth largest single day gain since adopting Bitcoin. So in the past, like around 6 years, this is the fourth largest. Let's see, I was a shareholder for that one. That was a great day. Wow, that was enjoyable. I was obviously a shareholder for this one. That was fun, for this one and for this one. So I've been a part of some really big gain days, and I've also been a part of some really big red days as well. Comes with the territory. And again, Michael Saylor says, if you can't handle the G's, get off of this rocket ship. You don't belong. And Zink says, honestly, super impressed with how quickly Stretch has recovered. We had the 8th largest down day for Bitcoin in the last decade, and is almost back up to par the very next day. Now, imagine what happens in a low interest rate environment, bullish. And of course, we are going to have a low interest rate environment coming up in 2026. No diggity, no doubts. And Zinks, love it. Love the mentality here. Michael Saylor says, what skeptics of strategy miss? One, digital capital outperforms physical capital. Most skeptics miss that. The digital capital, which is Bitcoin, outperforms physical capital. Also, digital capital, which is Stretch, outperforms conventional credit. Not by a little bit, by a lot, by like 3 to 4x. It's insane. Amplified Bitcoin, MSTR, outperforms wrapped Bitcoin. That is also what strategy skeptics miss, that amplified Bitcoin outperforms wrapped Bitcoin. But Michael Saylor is here to remind us all. Thank you for that, Michael Saylor. Appreciate it. Chris says, strategy is the least leveraged company when compared to the average in every other industry, yet gets the most criticism. It is hilarious because listen, people don't put in the work. Just look at this chart that Fong shared on the earnings report. People don't put in the work. They don't understand. They're headline readers. They're just reposting things that other short sellers and fudders are saying. It's absolutely hysterical. And then I literally have people that come into my comment section that are like, I'm actually starting to feel bad for you, John. Like, I'm starting to feel like pity for you. And I'm like, do you realize I'm holding shares in what will become the most valuable company in the world? They will never understand that until, of course, it's staring them in the face. But you get it. I get it. All we need to do is just hodl and let Bitcoin do its thing. And of course, let Michael Saylor do his thing. Chris says, the majority of people focus on Bitcoin's downside volatility, but completely forget that it works exactly the same to the upside. Bitcoin will move back up just as quickly as it moved down. All-time highs by the end of 2026. Easy. And then this is just a little bounce in the Bitcoin price. And of course, it's about at 68,000 right now when I'm recording. So it's retraced a little bit over the weekend, to be expected. British Hodl says, it looks like yesterday's price crash was caused by someone dumping a large amount in a very short period of time for whatever reason. It happened sharply. Liquidations followed immediately, and it was over by 5 p.m. EST on the dot. And it looks like it's not continuing today, so far. Now, I will say that it does seem, and there's been some reports that it was a hedge fund out of Hong Kong. Of course, more will come later. That could just be speculation, but that's what the early indications are saying. Right here, Hermes says, yesterday MSTR went through its worst earnings by far since the adoption of the Bitcoin standard, and today the stock is up 18%. And by the end of the day, by the way, it was up 26%. The FUD is dead. MSTR is on track despite volatility. There are no logical, coherent arguments left against MSTR. If people argue against it, they are simply ignorant. And by the way, I've been saying this for a long time, for over a year, that if you have something bad to say about MSTR, you're just ignorant, or you have an unbelievably short time frame and you don't understand what is happening over the next 2, 5, 10 plus years ahead. Fong Li coming up, who just dropped 6 minutes of brilliance on national television as soon as we get back from thanking our sponsors. When you want more, start your business with Northwest Registered Agent and get access to thousands of free guides, tools, and legal forms to help you launch and protect your business all in one place. Build your complete business identity with Northwest today. Northwest Registered Agent has been helping small business owners and entrepreneurs launch and grow businesses for nearly 30 years. They are the largest registered agent and LLC service in the U.S. with over 1,500 corporate guides, real people who know your local laws and can help you and your business every step of the way. Build your business identity fast with resources, forms, and step-by-step guides, even before creating an account. Sign up to manage your business hub with lawyer-drafted documents. Northwest is your one-stop resource, makes life easy, and keeps privacy automatic, never selling data anywhere. Don't wait. Protect your privacy, build your brand, and get your complete business identity in just 10 clicks and 10 minutes. Visit www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD-free and start building something amazing. Get more with Northwest Registered Agent at www.northwestregisteredagent.com/JLD-free. Scams and identity theft do not start with hackers. They start with your personal data being easy to find online. Your home address, phone number, and employment history can be sitting on dozens of websites right now, waiting to be used for fake loans, targeted scams, or worse. That information is spread across people's search pages, shady directories, and commercial databases you've never even heard of. That's where Incogni comes in. Instead of spending hundreds of hours manually opting out of these sites, Incogni automates the entire process. They hunt down your data and demand its removal. Incogni doesn't just do this once. They continuously monitor these sites in the background to make sure your data doesn't reappear. I recommend the unlimited plan because when something isn't covered automatically, Incogni's custom removals feature lets you send in a specific link, and a dedicated privacy expert takes care of the manual removal for you, start to finish. Remember, if they can't find you, they can't use your data against you. Take your data back risk-free with Incogni's 30-day money-back guarantee. Use code MSTR for 60% off an annual plan at incogni.com/MSTR. That's INCOGNI.com/MSTR.
Fong Li is the CEO of Strategy, and he joins us now for an exclusive interview. Fong, thanks for joining us. It's a great day today. Obviously, the market's up, Dow 50K, Bitcoin's up, but the last couple of weeks and months have been tough for crypto investors and for Strategy shareholders. You're speaking to them right now. What is your message to your investors?
My message is to hold on. Right, we've been through Bitcoin downturns in the past. In 2022, Bitcoin got up to 68K, went down to 16. That was a 75% drawdown. Now Bitcoin went up to 125K, got down to 60. That's a 50% drawdown. 7 years from now, when Bitcoin's at $1 million and goes to 750K, it'll be a 25% drawdown. Everyone will think it's the end of Bitcoin. And I'll say, hold on then too.
What if it doesn't go to $1 million, Fong? What if it goes to 10,000 instead?
Well, first of all, I don't think Bitcoin will go down to $10,000. I think it's extremely unlikely. What's happening with Bitcoin right now is the government's fully behind it. We have a Bitcoin president. We have a Bitcoin head of the SEC, head of the Treasury. Bitcoin headed the CFTC. So the regulatory issues that I think 5 years ago people worried about Bitcoin are gone. I think Bitcoin is a technological transformation as digital capital. I don't think it's going to go down $10,000.
Right, but you're running a business where you kind of have to have a strategy for that. No pun intended. As I understand, I was looking through it a little bit last night. The $17 billion loss in the quarter, of course, was before crypto fell. Bitcoin fell to almost below 60. Can you comment on what the loss is for the current quarter?
Yeah, it's a gap loss, right? And if you look on our website, we have information on the loss. But those are really just gap mark-to-market losses. It's really not a true cash loss for the company. If Bitcoin goes down to $8,000 for 5 years, maybe then we start to have issues around whether we need to sell Bitcoin. But the gap loss isn't really something we're concerned about.
And is that because you have $2 billion or so in cash on the balance sheet? Did I see that correctly?
Yeah, we have a fortress balance sheet, and I think there's sometimes a misconception that we have high leverage. I'll start with, we have about 10% leverage. I think it's 12% if you look at our website and our metrics today. Average S&P 500 AAA rated investment grade company has 20% leverage. We're half of that. In addition to your point, we have $2.25 billion of cash in our balance sheet. We put that on our balance sheet so we could have a digital fortress to back up our dividend payments. So exactly your point, not worried about the leverage, not worried about our dividend payments, not concerned about Bitcoin price right now. You have drawdowns like you did earlier the week.
Investors are. I'm sorry to jump in. Investors are. The stock fell 17% yesterday. It's making more than that up today. I've been following Michael and MicroStrategy and now Strategy for 20 years since it began. It's obviously changed dramatically. What then are investors and short sellers getting wrong? What's the wrongest thing they've got in their thesis around strategy?
There's two things. One, there are people who do not believe in Bitcoin as a long-term digital sovereign store of value. And you can have that debate for hours, and many have had that. I'll put that aside. If you believe in Bitcoin, what investors don't quite understand is we're leveraged, amplified Bitcoin. We're built to outperform Bitcoin on a Bitcoin per share basis. All right, so if you like Bitcoin, then you should if you want something that's leveraged and amplified, right? And that's what most business are. They're leveraged off of a certain commodity. They're leveraged off of a certain product. That's what we are. We're leveraged Bitcoin. I don't think people understand. Some folks are like, hey, you should be just trading at Bitcoin value. We provide value on top of Bitcoin.
And yet
we innovate. We create new products.
Sorry about that, Fong. It must be frustrating because if your average price is 76, I'm sure you'd love to be buying in the 50s, right? If you're bullish on Bitcoin, you want a lower cost basis. So what do you do about that? If the strategy is still to be long Bitcoin, assuming the price appreciation continues, but you can't buy when it falls certainly below these levels.
No, I don't think that's, well, first of all, that's not true. The average price that we bought Bitcoin at, $76,000, it's just a line in the sand, right? It's just a marker. It doesn't, what we look at is it accretive to buy Bitcoin? And it's accretive to buy Bitcoin when we're trading above the asset value of Bitcoin. That's what's accretive. So the average price of Bitcoin isn't exactly the indicator of when we'll buy Bitcoin or not.
What would be the indicators? Just say that again. And can you comment on whether you're buying right now?
Oh, I can't comment on whether we're buying right now, but you can assume we're buying often, right? We've bought every single quarter since we started the strategy. It's primarily whether it's accretive to Bitcoin per share for our shareholders, right? And that's why we have products like Stretch. So it's not just about issuing equity. It's about issuing digital credit, which is what our Stretch product is. And anytime we can issue that, it's accretive to our shareholders to buy Bitcoin.
And finally, Fong, I've seen, Jim Cramer and others have been, I can't say that I understand it completely, but would issuing zero coupon convertibles or something like that be a strategy through a time like this or no?
No, what our strategy is to issue digital credit, right? Hal Finney, who founded who was the first person to run Bitcoin beyond Satoshi Nakamoto 16 years ago, he said Bitcoin's high-powered money issued as digital cash. And that's what we see Stretch as, this high-powered money. And if we can issue Stretch, and remember, you were talking about yields earlier in the conversation before this. Stretch is 11% yields backed by Bitcoin. If we can issue that, and we use that to buy Bitcoin, which is what we do, then we're providing amplification to increase Bitcoin per share. And that's what causes our valuation to be higher than Bitcoin.
All right. Fong Li, of all the week, this is like a battleground week. And the fact that you are coming on to give a clear answer to your intentions about Bitcoin as it has one of its worst weeks in recent memory, we very much appreciate. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Fong Li is the CEO of MicroStrategy.